I'll never forget that day. It was a late afternoon in our little neighborhood. Me and my best friend, Mikael, and his younger brother, Matthias, and a few other kids were playing in the street. Mikael and I are standing about 50 yards down the street at this point while Matthias and some other kids are playing with a stroller. And there's this semi-truck parked on the other side of the intersection where they are. And all of a sudden it starts backing towards Matthias. And I recall watching this and being so sure that the driver knew that they were there. And Matthias, he's facing the other direction and he gets hit in the back and he falls to the ground. And Mikael and I, we just start running towards the semi-truck, just screaming and waving our hands, just trying to get the driver's attention. And right before our eyes, we see semi-truck backing over Matthias, and we just couldn't get the driver's attention fast enough. And I have no words to describe that trauma. I looked under the truck and I called his name, Matthias, but he didn't move, and man, it completely paralyzed me in the moment. The scene was just absolutely horrible, and I'm not going to go into any details, but it traumatized me so bad. I can honestly say I don't think one single day has passed without this scene flashing in front of my eyes. I see it every time I back my car, I'm out driving, my kids are out in the street playing. And today I'm a father of two amazing, wonderful sons. And it's always been my biggest fear that, something similar would happen to my own kids. I simply cannot think of a greater pain than losing your own child. And I have close friends who've done that. I've seen it too many times. This fear has had its grip over me for so many years. Believe it or not, about 2 years ago, when my youngest son Elliot was 4, he was in a similar accident. We had just arrived back home in Gothenburg, Sweden after a vacation in Croatia, and the shuttle bus picks us up at the airport to take us back to a parking lot where we had left our car. And as soon as we get there, we all get out of the bus and I walk into the office right next to the bus to pick up our car keys, while my wife Jenny, our two sons Emilian and Elliot, and my mother-in-law walk behind the bus. And they open these two big doors and start pulling out our bags. And usually it's the driver, he's supposed to go out and help doing that, but he seems stressed. He's on the phone and he's got some clients waiting. And all of a sudden he starts backing while my entire family is behind the bus. I'm still in the office and I hear this terrifying scream. And I look out the window and I see my wife Jenny and my mother-in-law come running up on the side of the bus. And just the look of their faces, the fear, I instantly knew what had happened. I ran outside screaming, just trying to get the driver's attention, and he finally stops. Then he starts driving forward again, and I jump onto the windshield just to make him stop finally. And after that, I run towards the back of the bus. And at this point, I just know what I'm going to see, because the memory of Matthias and that accident comes flashing in front of my eyes again, and I am 100% certain at this point that I've lost both my sons. When I get back there, I see that Emilian is fine, but Elliot is the one who went under the bus. And my brother-in-law, who was also there, he had managed to pull out Elliot from the bus, and I pick him up in my arms while he's crying and screaming, and I'm checking his body to see if he went under the wheels or not. He's all bruised up and his clothes are ripped and dirty. And I lay him down on the ground to just double check his entire body. But he seems okay. The first responders are there within minutes. They take him to the hospital to run a bunch of tests on him and just double and triple check everything. But man, we get to leave the hospital that same afternoon because he's okay after they clean up all his bruises and everything. And I cannot thank God enough for protecting his life that day and just saving him. You know, with the accident with Matthias, when I was just a kid, I never received any professional help whatsoever to deal with the trauma. And you know, with Elliot's accident, I felt like my whole life was just caving in. I still carried so much fear and anxiety, and you know, even though God clearly protected him, but I knew that I had to deal with this PTSD once and for all, and go see a counselor. There's no shame in seeking help, and you definitely shouldn't accept living your life in the grip of trauma, because I believe God wants to free us from that. If you're listening to this and you're dealing with trauma in your life, I really want to encourage you to seek professional help. I believe God wants to free you of that pain, but we first have to acknowledge that it's there and be willing to open up, to really dig into the deep and shine a light on all of it. This song, Last Place I Saw You, it kind of shares what it's like living with trauma, how it can just make you feel stuck sometimes. But there's hope and there's a way out, and this song has been an important part of my healing process. It's a tribute to Matthias.